Hey guys, Frank here, your virtual general aviation aviator, and I'm doing something I said I was not going to do. I said that I was not going to fly two types of airplanes, the the airliners and military aircraft. All right, what is this? What is that? Is that an airliner? Nope, nope, nope. Not gonna fly it. Not gonna fly it because I built my channel flying GA, and you guys are probably not interested in airliners because, if you think about it, finding YouTube content creators who fly airliners and streamers who stream airliners are a dime a dozen. I mean, right now, you can go almost anywhere online and find somebody flying an airliner, but you can't always find somebody flying that Diamond D62 or that BizJet, the G550, or even the 172. I mean, used to be a lot of people flying the 172. But anyway, an airliner. Well, I did decide to give an airliner a try, and I hopefully am able to fly it well enough to make a interesting stream. So let's get started. Now, this is the ZIBO 737, and this is the Avalo livery. The reason I chose the Avalo tongue twisted. The reason I chose the Avalo livery is because I'm at RDU and I wanted a really short flight, and the shortest flight I can get is RDU to Charlotte. I mean, I can drive there in an hour and a half if I really put my foot down. Maybe, about an hour and a half if I'm running about 80, 85 all the way. But I digress. It's not about driving. Okay, so this is the Avalo airline, which is, I understand, a small and upcoming airline who actually do fly out of Raleigh-Durham. I am emulating a real world flight that I found on FlightAware, and so yeah, let's get in the cockpit, guys. Again, the ZIBO, and one of the things that ZIBO has done is he has made flying the 737 really easy in terms of getting it set up. I mean, because I go to SimBrief, create a flight plan, and download that flight, generate that flight plan, and I can come here to weight and fuel balance. Okay, and I can go here. Let's say I'm assuming you guys can see this pretty good. Weight and fuel balance. And why is my cursor not doing what I want to do? Let's see. Yeah, all right, so go to weight and fuel. Yep, I'm there now, back. So yeah, let me go back out. All right, weight and fuel balance. And if I go to airside services and go to page 2 of airside services, and I can load the plan that I built at SimBrief. And well, this is not the one I built, I don't think, because I only had 98 passengers. This is another one. Just give me a second, guys, to regenerate that plan. It is what it is. All right, so I'm gonna load the new flight plan. 98 passengers. That's how I know I got the right plan. All right, so yeah. And at airside services, it's saying that I've got 6% more fuel than I need to bring this down to 100%. So it's gonna actually start doing everything for me. Now, I also got a add-on program called Copilot, and with Copilot I get a first officer named Linda, and lo and behold, she takes care of almost everything. So I'm gonna have her power up the aircraft, electrical power up. And she's not being cooperative today. Come on, Linda. Like when I look at her, she's supposed to look at me and introduce herself. She didn't do it. But let's see. Now this little widget right here comes with Copilot. So let me turn listening on and try it again. Electrical power up procedure.
Electrical power up procedure.
All right, thank you. So she's going to take care of a lot of stuff that I would normally have to take care of. Now, I've been flying this manually.
APU fire test.
I've been flying this without her for
unable to find view ID 13
for a while, so I know exactly what she's doing. But now I don't have to do it, so I can concentrate on the stuff that I need to concentrate on. All right, these emergency lights, she don't turn on. I wish she did, because the FAA says that this has to be on before the passengers come on. All right, so that's one thing that I always
waiting
do.
for start APU.
All right, I'm waiting on her to start the APU. So that's coming up, but at least I don't have to do it. The other thing I tend to do is go ahead and turn on my IRSs, and that's IRS is kind of what the Boeing used for its G1000 positioning system. Okay, so that's the way, in a very simplistic way, you can think of the IRSs. And this tells me I got 6 minutes before they line up. Now the GPS is running now, so I should have some power on my instruments displays, and I do. This is my well, you guys know what glass is. This is my PFD MFD.
Electrical power up procedure complete.
All right, thank you. Shoot. Thank you, Linda.
Thanks.
All right. So, yeah. So now that I've got that started up, I can tell her to go on to the next procedure, which is the preliminary startup procedure. Preliminary startup procedure. Shit, they're having a tough time understanding me. As a preliminary pre-flight. Preliminary pre-flight procedure.
Preliminary pre-flight procedure.
Okay, help if I word stuff correctly. All right, and I do have this little widget here that if I forget what I need to be saying, I can always look up stuff down here. So yeah. Now, airside services is not active, so that's why that's not happening. So that's because I loaded it, but I didn't activate it. So let me go ahead and activate it. Go back, and now the fuel truck should miraculously appear outside, and I should get a notice that they're filling me up. So
preliminary pre-flight procedure complete.
Okay, so that's done.
Enter the data in the CDU.
And I'm getting to it. So all of this stuff on this overhead panel, she's taking care of. The only thing I gotta make sure is that
ground flight deck host is connected and starting refueling.
Okay, there's the gas truck. So once the refueling start, and then in this case, he's defueling. It's taking fuel out. Uh, but yeah, so I should have the gas truck outside somewhere, and there it is. Yeah. So
Ground to flight deck, fuel is all loaded up and you are good to go.
didn't take him long to get that 6% of fuel out, and so I'm good to go with fuel. Now you see that the cargo for those 98 passengers start to go on. And since it's only 98 passengers, things will happen pretty quickly. All right. So the other thing is with this guy here, the first thing I want to do is put in, initialize my position, position in it. All right, so that's really easy. Now you just got to learn the flow, you know, how this thing works. But if I go to the next page, I can get a GPS reference, drop it in my scratch pad, bring it back, and paste it here. All right, the only other thing I want to do, just to make sure I got things right, is put in the, say, Raleigh-Durham, put in the airport that I'm at, which is Raleigh-Durham, and kind of compare the numbers. They won't match exactly. They may not match exactly, but they should be close. All right, so I know I'm at the right place. I do have 3 pages. You've already seen page 2 and page 3. I don't really ever worry about. Okay, so now I go back to my initial ref page, and let's see. No, I go back to my route. Next thing I'm gonna do is add a route, and again, I don't have to do anything much, so I can request that route, and it'll look at that file that I downloaded from SimBrief and get everything I need to program this thing. All right, so it's got it, and now this button has changed to load, so I'm gonna click that guy, and voila, there it is. Now the other thing I want to do is activate it, so I'm gonna go ahead and activate it, and to make sure I got it, I'm gonna execute it, because this light right here came on saying you should execute it. I've trained myself to always look up here at the top of the CDU to see how many pages I got. Let me come a little closer. And I got 1 or 2 pages, so I do have another page behind this one, which is the beginning of the route. Okay, so I'm going to execute that, and now that I've done that, perf initiation, performance initiation pops up. So I'm going to go ahead and start entering my performance data. Okay. Whoa, look at that. Isn't that complicated? So the thing to know is that what's in these blocks are required, and the dashes are optional. So the only thing that I'm not going to get is my reserves, and I can look that up from SimBrief. But in order to get this stuff, then I want to request it, which I've already done, and then I can hit load, and it'll fill out everything for me. Voila! And see, now I still got these 3 blocks here. I mean that's required. Okay, so I am going to go and look at my final reserves plus alternate, and that's 4,597, which is rounded 4,600. So in this airliner, they tend to drop the last 2 zeros or the last 2, so I'm going to go 4.0 6 to denote 4,600 pounds of reserve fuel. Okay, and there you go. Now I heard passengers coming aboard, so I know that my passengers are being loaded. And let's say I actually got a key. Um, at least I thought I have a key that, let's see, well, let's go to the access door and open it up. Okay, so I'm thinking by opening that door that you should hear them, but yeah, so, but you can see them back there, so that's cool. All right. So where were we? We were working on this guy and 4.6. Now this is all I really need to put in because this is dashes, and so that's optional. But as a matter of course, I tend to put that in, and what I have on my operational flight plan is 9.7. So I'm gonna drop that in right here and execute it. All right, so I do have a second page, so I'm gonna just go to that second page, and you know it's got some information on it, time, area, tolerance, and quite frankly, I do not know how to discern exactly what this is telling me. But you know, one thing about simming is you don't have to learn everything at the same time. You can learn as you go along. All right. So yeah. Now that I've my passengers are coming, my fuel is on board. My passengers are loading up. My cargo is on board. So I do have some more initiation data to attend to. Actually, I think it's takeoff data. So I'm gonna go here to go to my index, and I know that I've already entered my performance data. So now I need to enter my takeoff data. But before I do that, let me check my route. Okay, so this is route, departure, arrival information, ATC, VNAV. Okay, so I'm going to concern myself with this flight with this initial reference page, the route page, the departure arrival page, the legs page, and previous and next. That's really all I'm gonna really concern myself with on this flight. Of course, as I learn, if I keep flying this airplane, then I will eventually learn what the rest of the stuff is. But anyway, okay, so the route. Okay, again, I did import the route, and I've got 2 pages, and go to the next page, and I've got something here that's required. Okay, so this is my route, and I got what they call a route discontinuity. So what a discontinuity is when the route does not join up. Like I might have a piece of the route here and then a piece of the route there, and for some reason that the information to connect those 2 pieces of route didn't take. So I have to fix that manually. Now, I said that I was going to concern myself with the legs page, and the legs is the route with, you know, when you fly, let's say I'm flying VOR to VOR, so if I got 2 VORs, then I fly from my destination to VOR 1. That's one leg. Then I fly from VOR 1 to VOR 2. that's another leg. And then from VOR 2 to my destination, I said destination over here, uh, my departing airport, that's what I meant. Anyway, um, so you see what the leg is. And with airliners now, they use a lot of waypoints
departure cross check and all call, thank you.
that are defined by GPSs. So I just heard all call, and anytime I hear all call, I know that they're finished loading up. So now I can finish my initial reference, because technically I can't finish it because before I can get the final weights of my passengers, then my flight crew has to do an all call and average out the weight and give it to me, or either give it to me in raw numbers and I average out the weight. I'm not sure how it works in practice, but yeah. But anyway, back to the discontinuity. So I got to get rid of that, and I talked about the legs page. So I'm gonna click on the legs page, and these waypoints are just basically legs. So from the airport to the first leg, the aircraft don't really know how it wants to get me there. And one of the things that I found, that it has a page up here, has buttons up here, and I got approach, view, aura, map, and plan. So if I put this on plan, and you'll see the word step pop up right here. So I'm going to drop this on plan, and step just popped up. Okay, so, and I am going to put it on 5 miles out. So basically from the airport to this ring is 5 miles. But yeah, and north is up, so I'm always going to be flying north, basically. But anyway, I don't want to make this too confusing. So I've got my airport, but I don't see my first waypoint. So if I go to 10 miles out, I still don't see it. Go to 20 miles out, I still don't see it. Go to 40 miles out, and boom. Let's see, it's about 25 miles out. Actually, it's 26 nautical miles. It tells me right here in the, well, let's say, I'm not sure that's correct, because I'm not sure if that's 26 miles represent from Qatar to Sundown. I'm not sure, so disregard that. But suffice it to say that from here to, well, you see that I had to really go out to sea. And you see that I don't have that magenta line pointed to Qatar. That's because right now the plane don't know how to get me there. So I am going to, in real life, ATC will point you towards Qatar, and you would use a chart that would help too, a SID departure chart. But anyway, just to keep things simple, I am just going to delete this discontinuity by copying Qatar in my scratch pad, and then I'm going to paste Qatar right here in this block, and that's going to pull everything up. And now all of a sudden I got dotted lines showing me how to get to Qatar. So the airplane now has an idea on how to get to Qatar. So yeah, that's kind of the way that worked. And to make that line magenta, I need to execute this, and boom, there we go. All right, how'd you like those apples? So now I got 2 pages of waypoints, or yeah, waypoints. Some of them could be VOR waypoints, but waypoints nonetheless. I don't see any VOR waypoints, but you know, of course, you can get some in certain flights. So that's showing more data than I want to see. So let's see. Well, actually, I did that a little wrong. I'm gonna go back. All right, so I'm at Qatar, and now I can step through this. Let's see. Let me put it back on 40, so I can step through this by hitting the step button, and it's gonna jump from here to here all the way to my next until I get to the end of the arrival. So that's Qatar, and you see it became pink, and this is pink or magenta, and my next step is sundial. Let's see, something, let's see, well, I'm still on, let's see, wait a minute, what's going on here? I'm kind of the blind leading the blind, but you know, I know you guys, let's see, okay, yeah, that's what I want to see. So I wanted to see this center button. I didn't, if it jumped in front of sundial, I didn't see it, but Walesh is where it's at now, and of course I can make this bigger. Let's see, by bringing this to 20, and so I'm at Walesh, and the next waypoint is going to be Chelsea, or sometimes I call it Chrysler. Chelsea or Chrysler, but I can just, the idea is I can just step through everything to make sure that I've got everything, that everything is what it should be. Okay, so yeah, I've checked my plan and I'm happy with it, but let me do this. Let me go to 160, okay, and go back to plan. Okay, and let's see, let's go back to 80, and let's step along here again. So I'm going to Charlotte, and you see that the plan stops at Saipan. So in my flight plan, it says that my arrival route, which is called a STAR, Standard Terminal Arrival, what's the R stand for? Arrival, maybe AR, arrival. Standard Terminal Arrival route, for something better, says, let's see, let me go to route and impacts and bring this over here. Let's see, I want to show you how I do it, and let's see, bring that over there, and you won't be able to see it unless let's go and disable that. Well, let's see, I gotta enable this and disable that. Okay, there we go. Now you can see the route. So this is my route, and anytime you got a number behind something, then that's going to indicate an arrival or departure. If it's at the right end of the plan, it's always going to be an arrival. And if something with a number, if Qatar had a number behind it, then that would indicate that it's a departure. And that would be on the left side of the plan. Anyway, so Chelsea 5 is the arrival, and that's basically what I want to point out here. All right, so let's close that up. Turn that back on, and let me get focus back into the sim so I can see what you are seeing. And so there's Chelsea here, and there are a couple waypoints, but the problem is they're not taking me to Charlotte. So I got to fix that. So my plan said that let's see, okay, bring that back up. And let's see that plan. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so my plan says that I'm gonna go to Charlotte and enter 18 on. I'm going to use runway 18 left into Charlotte, and Chelsea is my star, and the waypoint before Chelsea is generally called the transition. So let's see if that works in the plan. All right, so I am jumping back into the airplane, and just bear with me. Okay, that got it focused for you. This gets it focused for me. Okay, now I'm in the airplane and I can see. So yeah, so now I am going to go to, you guessed it, arrivals and departures. Okay, so I didn't have a departure, but I do have an arrival. And my arrival is the Chelsea 5 with a sundial transition. If there's a transition, it ought to be sundial. So Chelsea 5 is activated, and that's pretty cool. And my runway was 18 left on the sundial. Okay, so there's sundial. That's my transition, and 18 left is the runway that we want. Now we can choose either an ILS or go through the pages, and I got an R now Y for an 18 left, and and that's it. So sometimes you have RNLs YZ and ILSs. You can have different categories of ILSs, but for the sake of simplicity, we're just going to use the ILS 18 left. Okay, so I just chose that, and now lo and behold, look at this guy. It filled out something, and I got my execute light to make it dark. Looks like I'm going to have a discontinuity because I've got some brakes that I'm looking at, but I'm going to go ahead and execute that. Now I need to go back to my legs and figure out why I got some discontinuities and, make those lines join up. So I am going to go step, 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 step. And there are reasons why you might get discontinuities. Sometimes the FMS know that the area is controlled, and the controllers are always going to give you vectors. But in the sim, since I'm not doing VAT sim, then I don't want to have to vector myself. So I just want a contiguous flight plan. So yeah, so I'm gonna go to the next page. There's a vector. There's a vector. So I'm gonna go to the next page and get the first waypoint, drop that in my scratch pad, go back to the previous plan, and put that in my vector. And let me just pop out a little bit so that we can observe what happens to this guy. All right, so I'm gonna paste that here, and I still got, now I got a dotted line that's running from this waypoint, Hans, to Q'd, a kiwied. Okay, so I can execute that, and now guys, check that out. I got a contiguous flight plan. So yeah, that's kind of how this works. So yeah, there is a little work that I have to do, but you know, it's not bad. It's not bad. All right, so now I can go back here and tell the panel to just show me let's see, the map. All right, so yeah, and again, just like I could with the steps, I can fix this to show me, you know, 5, 10, 20, 40, 80 miles and so forth and so on. Okay, so yeah, got that done. Happy. All right, so we're getting there, aren't we? And let's see, so where are we? Okay, so we finished with our route. We got our route, and we're happy with it. We got 3 pages now because we put in that in the rest of the information that we needed, so the plane would know how to get to runway 18 left. All right, so now our passengers are aboard. So now I just need to finish getting the plane ready for pushback. So I can go here, and if you got co-pilot, let's see, I've already done electrical power and preliminary pre-flight procedure. So now I probably should go ahead and do pre-flight procedure.
Pre-flight procedure.
And she'll take care of some more stuff up here for me, and double check her work. So, and you know, like she just turned on the yaw damper, which is cool, and she's making sure that the fuel tanks are correct. Anyway, so I don't have to worry about that. I trust her. I've flown this enough to have some trust in the process now. All right, and what do we want to do now? So let's see, oh yeah, I want to go ahead and determine how I'm gonna get out of here. Now I know that I am going to use runway, I think it was runway 23. Let's see, let me bring that page back up with my flight plan and pull it over here so I can reference it. Yeah, it's runway 23 left that I'm going to use to get out of here.
Please check that the flight level is set correctly. Please check that the landing altitude is set correctly.
Okay, so she just reminded me to check that the landing altitude is set correctly. One thing about SimBrief, if you have it, then you can very easily pull up a map and and I'm sorry, not SimBrief, but Navigraph charts. If you have Navigraph charts, you can very easily pull in the chart maps. And she's still going through the pre-flight procedures. But what I need to do is look. So since I don't have a SID, then getting out of here is on me.
Pre-flight procedure complete.
So I would technically rely on ATC to tell me how high
pre-flight checklist
to go. But I know from experience in flying at this airport that they don't want you over 6,000 feet.
Increase climb.
So
increase descent. Increase descent.
I am
maintain vertical speed.
going to take my
maintain
Bravo
vertical speed. Crossing.
and
Maintain.
maybe I can go
Monitor
faster
vertical
here
speed. TCAS test.
and bring
Pass.
this down to 6,000. Yeah, this is much faster the way he got this sort of screw. All right, and yeah, and I also probably would want to see which way I need to turn the airplane once I leave runway 23 left to turn it towards Qatar. So I know that the runway heading is 234, so I'm gonna leave this here, and I get my minimal ILS speed from my initial references. Now that my passengers is on, I could go ahead and finish filling out my takeoff data. All right, so again, going to takeoff, and I know I want flaps 5. Okay, so that's just what people tell me to use, so I just use it. I don't know why, and I can just click here and it'll tell me what my trim is. So it says, oh, I gotta sneeze, hold on just a second. Where did that come from? All right, so I want to set this to roughly 5.25, and I got a CG of 18.9. Before I had to figure all this stuff out, but now with this airside service that's putting this stuff in, I have very little to figure out. All right, so my V1, my point of no return, is 124 knots, and I'm gonna rotate 1 knot beyond that, 125. No, yeah, VR rotate. And if I lose an engine, my minimal speed is gonna be 138. Okay, so that's what I want to put in the that's what I want to put in the control panel here. Now I may have to enter these speeds again because again here you see 2 pages, and I don't know why they do it this way, but on page 2 they ask for the runway winds, and the winds I can get actually from my flight plan, because when I generated this flight plan it looked at the ADAs, and I got winds that my METAR says 200 at 6, 10 statute miles, overcast 1,000, well 1,400, temperature 9, dew point -2, altimeter 3002. Okay, so I got runway, I got 200 at 9 knots. Didn't get the at slash. Let's see. That's because I got this widget over top of it. So I need to do that. All right. Slash 9 knots and drop that in there, and I'm happy with that. So I didn't get a message that said my V speeds were deleted, but they were they were deleted, so I'm gonna put those back in. I probably did get a message. It's probably, if I clear this stuff, I'll probably see it. Takeoff speeds deleted. So yeah. Yep. And also, even though my flight plan calls for cruise altitude of 18, the system changed it to 17, which makes sense. I think I changed it. I chose 18, but I'm going westward, and westward is odd. So yeah, it checked behind me. All right. So yeah, so there are my V speeds. All right, so I am pretty much finished with programming the CDU for this flight. Okay, so the inertial ref is filled out, pages 1 and 2, and I got my route filled out, and I got my legs. So now I need to work with my first officer to finish getting the plane ready for flight. Okay, so yeah, so I can ask her. Let's run. I think the last thing she did was a pre-flight procedure, and she asked me to check that the altitudes were correct, and that's why I pulled the plan. Let's see. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't finish this up, did I? Okay. So yeah. Let me back up here. And quite frankly, it take, as with anything, it take doing this stuff a few times to get the hang of it. Let's see. So I want to turn my main display on so that you guys can see this. So yeah, so I need to unload this flight plan. I need to import the one that I'm working with, import it from SimBrief, Raleigh to Charlotte, and download it, and boom, there's the plan that we're flying. All right, so the reason I need to bring this up, because I need to get my airport information. Now I could have got it out of ForeFlight, but for the purpose of this, I'm showing you what you can do if you want to fly the ZIBO, and most people don't have ForeFlight anyway. So we know we're coming in on 18 left, and the elevation for 18 for this airport is 748, and I'm getting that right here off my airport information sheet. All right, so and I actually don't know where we're gonna park at in Charlotte, so we'll probably exit Charlie 8 here and park over here somewhere if we can get in, just so that we don't have to do a bunch of taxiing. But yeah, so I lost my train. Oh yeah, so I need to verify the numbers that the landing altitude, and I need to to make sure that our cruise altitude is set correct in the pressurization system. Okay, so that's what I'm working on. And quite frankly, sometimes I have to say this stuff out loud to keep my train of thought. Okay, so walking you guys through it is actually helping me. All right, so 17,000 feet. That's perfect. Thanks, Linda. Now, landing altitude, she asked me to check, and 350 is not going to work. It's 748, so I'm going to try 750. So that means that when the aircraft dump the pressure, it should dump it at 750, and we should be on the ground by then. Okay. so yeah. All right. So what is next? All right. Now let's run that checklist that she just did. So I'm gonna tell her to do the pre-flight checklist. Pre-flight checklist.
Pre-flight checklist. Voice recorder.
Set. On.
On. Oxygen.
And I'll check mine. Tested 100%.
Tested 100%. Navigation and display switches.
She'll check
Normal. Auto. Window heat. On. Pressurization mode selector. Auto. Flight instruments.
that. Okay, so yeah, what she want to hear is right now my flight instrument says 280, my altimeter is at 2992, and my heading is basically at 149. So heading 149, altimeter 2992, and altitude 280.
Heading 148. Altitude 281. Altimeter 2992.
Okay, so that reminds me to go ahead and set the altimeter,
Parking brake.
which is at, oh, well, let me finish with her. Set.
Set. Engine start levers.
Cut off.
Cut off. Pre-flight checklist complete.
All right, so that completes that checklist.
Ready for before start procedure.
And I have her do the before start procedure as soon as I enter the altimeter, and that was 3002. So yeah, 3002, and so that pretty much almost completes where I need to be. Trims that should be at 5.2, and I know we want our flaps set at 5. They have not been set yet. Okay. Before start procedure.
Start procedure.
Turning the fuel on, checking making sure everything is on. The hydraulics can come on, lights can come on.
Before start procedure complete.
Okay. Before start
Ready for
checklist.
before start checklist. Before start checklist. Papers.
On board.
Flight deck door. Closed and locked. Fuel.
So she wants to know how much fuel is in the plane, and that should be on my fuel gauge. So fuel quantities, I've got 4.69 plus 4.87, a total of 9,000 pounds, 9,600 pounds. So that's all I got to do is tell her. 9,600 pounds.
4,335 kilogram on board.
Now she always repeat it back in kilograms.
Pumps on. Passenger signs. On. Window.
Locked.
Locked. MCP.
MCP, that stands for Mode Control Panel, and I've got speed 138, heading 234, altitude
Speed
6,000.
138. Heading 234. Altitude 6,000. Takeoff speeds.
So that's going to be my VREFs. So I need to find my index page here. So if I hit inertia ref and then just go to index, then I can get to my takeoff page. And these are my V speeds. So I could have written them down, but yeah. So V1 124, V rotate 125, and V2 138. I held that key too long. It does things.
V1 124. V rotate 125.
And my frames are
V2
taking a beat.
138. CDU pre-flight.
Complete.
Complete. Rudder and aileron trim.
Free and zero. It
Free and
always
zero.
is.
Taxi and takeoff briefing.
Complete. Complete.
Complete. Anti-collision light.
Turn them on.
On. Before start checklist complete.
Alright, so now I can call for my pushback. And let's see. We're in RDU. We're taking off 23 left. That's that way. So I want my tail to go to the right, my head to go to the left, my nose to go to the left. So let me pull up. This guy and ground services pushback, and requests.
Ground to cockpit, please show me where you want to go.
Okay. I think it's turned in the right direction. And yeah, I think that's where I want to go. So I probably could have just pressed enter and maybe that would have taken, but
Ground to cockpit,
I'm still
tow
learning.
is driving up.
all right. So my tow truck is driving. My tow is driving up, and X-Plane's smart enough to get out of the way because maybe they're gonna use this tow truck. I guess they are. All right. So while I'm waiting on the tow to hook up, then I can do some things. Let's see. I can call clearance delivery and get my clearance and all that good stuff. My radios should have been tuned by now.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
But see, I'm on tower, and I mean I'm on ground, and tower is for this side is 119.3. So change that and have that on standby. All right, and of course I will have ADAS
So
on
connected
com
and
too.
bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
All right, release parking brake. So let's see what that looks like outside. Yeah, I thought this guy was getting out of the way for this. I like the way this one works because it actually lifts the, doesn't use the bar, it lifts the whole front of the that nose wheel off the ground. So that's pretty cool. All right, so yeah, release the park brake.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Start up, clearance obtained.
Engine start procedure.
Engine start procedure.
Waiting for the command to start sequence.
Man, I messed up on that pushback, didn't
Engine start procedure.
I? Start number 2 engine.
Waiting for the command to start sequence.
Start number 2 engine.
Starting number 2 engine.
All right, so she'll hit everything that she needs to do. And this is what I say, this is why I say this co-pilot program really makes things a lot easier if you trying to learn to fly this airplane. All right, so
25 N2.
all right, 25 and 2 here. That means I can give it fuel, and the engine should light off. The starter will cut out automatically. This is the start button.
Starter cutout.
All right, and I can tell the start engine number 1. Start engine number 1. Start number 1 engine.
Starting number 1 engine.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
All right, getting a bunch of instructions here. So I have to mash the brakes to set them, and they're set.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
All right. So this guy's out here releasing the tow. Maybe I can show you the plane being lowered.
25 N2.
All right, I need to go back in and put this lever up so the engine will light off. Now, I think I was supposed to do a pre-tax. No.
Starter cutout. Engine start procedure complete.
Okay.
Tow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal will be on the right. We'll see you next time and have a great flight.
Flaps 5. All right, have her set the flaps to 5. And he said he'd be on the right. So he's gonna be over there. And there he is. All right, he's giving me permission to taxi.
Ready for before taxi procedure. Flaps 5 set.
Before taxi procedure. So I want to make sure my instruments are free and correct. So there is, okay, so yeah, here we go. So, and let me turn my yoke on for this part. All right. And check the flaps. You can see them just by the speed brake. Check the speed brakes. Speed brakes are working. All right, happy. And what is she doing? Okay. And pre-taxi checklist. Before taxi checklist, have to have my words right.
Before taxi checklist. Generators. On. Probe heat. On. Anti-ice. Wing anti-ice off. Engine anti-ice off. Isolation valve. Auto. Engine start switches.
Continuous.
Continuous. Recall.
Checked.
Checked. Auto brake. Rejected takeoff. Engine start levers.
Idle detent.
Idle detent.
That's these levels here.
Flight control.
Checked.
Checked. Flaps.
5.
Flaps 5 set. Green light. Detent. Ground equipment.
Clear.
Clear.
That's why I looked and saw that guy
Before taxi checklist complete.
move his toe.
Ready for taxi.
All right, we are ready to taxi. So let's get our taxi on. Give it some breakaway thrust. Ah, man. Well, guys, I tell you what, this is going to be a two-parter because just getting this guy ready for taxi is a lot of information. So yeah, I would come back. I am going to post this, and we will start out the next one from our ready to taxi point and go ahead and make our flight to Charlotte. The flight should only be maybe about 20 minutes of flight time before I actually get there. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed the information that I have presented in learning to fly a airliner, at least the ZIBO. I should mention the ZIBO is free, and if you're interested, then I'm going to leave a link to my Discord channel in the notes, and I'm going to leave a link to ZIBO's website where you can get the ZIBO. And yeah, Copilot unfortunately is a payware app, and to get London to help you, I think it's going to cost somewhere between $15 $20. So that sucks, but she, you know, just watching her over and over will teach you how to configure this thing, and will take a large load off you. Alright, so until next time.
Y'all come back now. Here.